Hello, and welcome to FTT Chats. I'm Liz Lumley, and this is where we sit down with some of the great and the good of FinTech for a bit of a chat. So today I'm sitting down with Krista Nielsen of Danske Bank. How are you?
Hi, Liz. Thank you. I'm feeling very well today. Thanks. It's a nice semi-summer autumn day outside. That's good.
Yes,
How are
it's
you?
the dog days of summer, isn't it? It's giving up. It's
Yes.
giving up the fight. Awesome. So I'm going to start off with our first question that we ask everyone to introduce you to our community. Who are you and what do you do?
And that is a good question because it actually changed this past
Oh,
Monday, where I was moved into a new role. I've been part of Danske Bank, one of the major Nordic banks, for the past 7 years or so, and in different types of transformative roles, often in the back end of the value chain, because that's where some of the complexity sits, and that's where a lot of the technology also gets to be developed. So I've always been happy with that. And this Monday, we are launching somewhat of a big change internally in how we structure our developments. And we are laying out now tribes for our key customer journey areas. So you'll have your everyday banking individuals, everyday banking corporates, so on and so forth. And as of Monday, I am now the tribe lead, we call it, for our payments core platform area,
okay.
which is very interesting because this area, those of you that will deal with the fintech space and the brink of the technology development, you'll know that the payments area is really a field of competition and breakthrough innovations. So that's a lot of fun to deal with, especially as a big bank, because you have to balance it against quite legacy oriented systems, and then obviously a wave of regulations coming in on the side. And I think that speaks well to me. I really like, when it's not straightforward.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like people that like complicated projects. They're interesting, interesting
Mm.
people. Yeah, and I really wanted to talk with you about being a tribe leader now. I mean, maybe you can go into a little bit more detail about some of the first projects you're gonna work on.
Yeah. So in the bank, we have already a payment strategy, so-called. And the reason that we're making this change is that we want to give it more engine. I think we want to catalyze it or catapult it even. And when you look at the payment space, you have obviously a customer front end experience, and you
Mm,
have a corporate experience, and then you have a platform, a backbone on which it all sits. And if we do this right, we'll be able to make all ends meet. The platform part of things is interesting because it's like, I think the typical analogy is with trains and rails, that
mm,
you're building rails that are your infrastructure on which you can then deploy different types of trains, i.e. products that face the customer, that need to be aligned with the rest of the sector and the industry in the Nordics and the different regulators and the different types of collaborations you have. One of the key things we're looking into and have already started doing this past year is partnerships. I think when you're in banking and you are one of the incumbents, partnering with new companies, new spearheaders on the technology side is really a way in of deploying what you do best with your big muscle and your at least somewhat of a regulatory experience, and then deploying that with someone who's on the edge of what you can do on the user interface.
yeah, no, but partnering. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, it's a topic that comes up often, and I've worked a
Mm,
lot in the past with large banks and smaller new entrants to the industry, and that sort of strategies around partnering.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to sort of keeping on that sort of tribe leader question, that those terms for people who don't know, come from that sort of startup world, from
Hmm.
lean methodology, agile environments. I'm really,
Yeah.
really incredibly fascinated by what it's like to take those types of methodologies and bring them into a large incumbent bank. Like, kind of what skills are needed to bring that style of working into
Mm.
an established bank like Danske?
I think that is the question on everyone's lips right now, isn't it? How do you do agile? And in that, how do you do these exponential organizations? that somehow sit almost as a satellite on your old way of working, because you cannot change. In our case, we're roughly 20,000 employees here. You
Mm,
cannot change everyone overnight, nor do you want to, but you want to create a good balance between a culture where you can experiment and play and have fun and try out new things with
mm,
perhaps a different risk tolerance for failure. And you don't want that in your everyday business. Then you want a super steady run of the mill, making sure that the products you have in the market, they are stable, reliable. It's a different risk environment, to use that space. So I think that's what we're keen to do, to finding that balance. How do you do it? My personal take at it is that you need to engage as a leader and as a human being, because
mm,
culture is something you build in the realms around you. So when you look someone in the eye and you solve a problem, for instance, you build a small culture there, and then if you do the same with the person next to it, and those two people do the same, and then their onward wave, they will do the same. That is then the shape of a culture. And there's like a finite there's a boundary to how big you can build one shared culture. I
mm,
think it's too much to say you can have one culture
yeah,
for 20,000 employees. You will have smaller subsets of cultures, and that's what we then call tribes. So the thinking is that within a tribe, you'll have maybe 150 or so people, which is a fantastic size, I think, because you can get around, you can be part of something, you can know each other, and you're also big enough that you have muscle that you can really move mountains along the way. So the tribe thinking is about allowing different types of cultures to unite around one common purpose and to get going with perhaps higher degrees of freedom than what you would normally see in a classical, hierarchical, semi-bureaucratic bank setup.
mm. I'm so glad you brought that up. I mean, so often in this industry we talk about technology issues, but it always comes back to humans, and
True.
culture. And yeah,
Yes.
agree completely.
Yeah.
It kind of leads me to my next question, because you're going to be speaking at FinTech Talents Virtual Nordics coming up on October 14th.
Yes.
And you're really going to be talking about kind of a session that is ultimately looking at the future of work, but really right at the moment, the current state of work. This idea about
Mm-hmm.
having teams that aren't centralized, that are distributed, that are remote. This is a topic has been talked about for a number of years, but currently with the COVID-19 pandemic, many more people
Mm.
are involved in that type of work arrangement. So, what kind of tools and strategies are kind of needed to ensure that teams
Mm.
do work together when they're not together?
When they're not together, how do you stay together
Mm.
apart, kind
Yes.
of? That's the question. Yeah. And I love that you say tools and strategies,
Mm.
because one thing won't work without the other. So tools will be like you and I right now. We're on each our webcam, and we're connected, and we had difficulties on the tech
Yep.
side, but we made it work because we have alternatives, and we have somewhat of a decent skill set for finding our way around technology.
Mm.
We'll make it work somehow. That's on the tools side. So I think we need to invest enough in that.
Mm.
The video cam, for instance, that makes all the difference.
Mm.
It does make all the difference, because back to your previous point, it's about the humans, it's about the connectivity and the connection. And in that, then that's the strategy that I see. It is building a sense of presence from
Mm.
a distance. So when I look you in the eye, then we connect on some type of presence, and we can actually, you know, it can actually feel just like being in the same room. I think that's the strategy you want to go with when you're working in a virtual environment. And you need to deliberately build a few different habits, like the almost translating from the office space. And I love to talk about this stuff because I've been doing it since, I think, 2006 or so,
Okay.
in previous roles, having teams in I'm based in Denmark, but having teams in the UK and in India, in different cities in India, then having teams in Lithuania, in Sweden, in Finland. I've really been practicing this skill set, And one of my tips, and you can just use it, it's free of charge,
Cool.
is to when I'm in the car, I give love calls. I call them that. So I call random people on the phone just to check in, just to hear. So it's like meeting that someone next to the coffee machine, but you just call them on the phone and you say, "Hi, what's up with you? What's going on your end?" Those types of open questions without an agenda, they help us build a sense of presence, even at remote distances.
I absolutely love that, and I am stealing that, by the way. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Even with us,
Go ahead.
yeah, we've hired 2 people. We're hiring a 3rd person, and they've all been onboarded the past few months virtually, and they're now a total part of the team now, even though we've never physically met. So yeah, it's interesting times, and it can be done. So yeah, I find that fascinating.
It can, but you need to make an effort. It won't come for free, and you can do it in smaller groups only. You can't do a town hall for 200 people and just show up. You won't connect in the same way.
Right,
So
exactly.
I think the effort needs to be slightly differently, pieced out.
So we're coming to the end of our conversation, but I always like to, and not everyone answers this the same way, but it's kind of my idea about we don't live on FinTech alone. We have other things that go on in our lives. So I always like to ask people, what brings you joy?
What brings me joy? You know what? I read these questions this morning. You were kind enough to share some of them, and this one was one of them. And I thought that's the best question that someone has asked me in a long time. And then I thought, what actually does bring me joy? And I thought complex problems or finding solutions or blah, blah, blah. But what really unites all my answers is play. I really like to play. So I like to play when I'm with someone and we're cracking up a solution. What could we do? Which alternatives are there? Who can we call on? You draw something on a table or something like that. That type of playfulness, I enjoy that, and that's also what brings me joy in my home life with my 2 kids, 2 girls, 7 and 9. So it's that sense of play brought into life. I think that totally invigorates me, and I'm also a better leader when I am open to that and when I invite for the playfulness. It doesn't need to be boring to solve complex tech problems. It can be really playful.
That's awesome. The best innovation leaders I've met are those who like to play, who like to break out the Lego bricks and and have a bit of a
Yes.
play. Yeah, perfect.
True.
Awesome.
True.
Krista, thank you so much for sitting down and speaking to me. And we will speak soon in the next few weeks as we
Thank you
plan
for
for the
having
event.
me.
Thank you so much.